Now then, how are we all diddling? I hope we're all doing really well. Welcome back to Pommy and Oz. And what we're doing today is Monday. It's usually a Carlton theme thing in the off-season as we mix it up a little bit. And I thought we're in the trade period, aren't we? The trade and draft time for Carlton is just, for me, I think coverage-wise, is absolutely garbage because it's just full of people just panning it and saying nonsense and not really giving you much information other than you've got Brendan Goddard saying, how's Carlton got 85 people on the list? I mean, complete melt behaviour, him and Del Santo this Alva. So I thought, well, let's have a look at what we do know and let's take a quick looky what we are picking up. If you are new around here, though, please drop a like, please drop a subscribe. It really helps grow the channel. We've smashed 1,500, which is more than I ever thought. So the new goal is road to 2K. That'd be cool, that, because I could call it Pommy and Oz 2K, which would be sick. So if you can make me do that, that would be most appreciated. So what we're going to do then is let's have a look. So we've got one that is confirmed. Let's have a look at him. Here he is, Georgie Hewitt. Now, George Hewitt, obviously, he's going to cost us nada now, free. You love a freebie, don't you? And we know he's played across the back line. He's a midfielder and he is a tagger. Now, there is some interesting little snippets for you here. Now, he did start getting utilised, particularly as a tagger this year. He came back into the midfield a bit later on in the last 5, 6, 7 rounds. Other than that, he was kind of deployed. He did play on Dusty in the half-forward line, in that half-back line, obviously. He handled Toby Green at stages as well early on in the year. Really interesting cat is George Hewitt because he is super versatile. And we know now a lot of teams do deploy a backman to tag. We saw Geary tag Doc a couple of years ago. It is becoming a new niche thing because obviously in your half-back line, there is a lot of run and carry. And then also in the forward line, we're starting to see people tag Toby Green, real dangerous. We saw George Hewitt incidentally spent a lot of time on Jackie Martin when we played them, and he did really well as well. So it's kind of a modern-day thing, gives you options. Now, one thing to notice about George Hewitt is his tagging ability. So if we got around 17, he played predominantly, and we've used where they've spent more than 50% of the time on him, which I would say is a true tag. He was on McRae. McRae actually went down 24%. He went on Hopper in round 18 and in the final. In the first game, it was 19% down. In the second game in the final, he was 24% down. Big one is Monday, round 19. We know Monday was phenomenal. He was real hot at the time. Negative 33% from Monday. He really shut him up. Steele did get the better of him. It's not really that type of tag. I wouldn't say he was actually up 17%. But it actually works out 17% weak when you are tagged by Hewitt. Another thing that we've noticed as well, that when he has played in the midfield, your players that break lines genuinely improve. And that is really impressive. Parker really feasted on a lot of the ball when Hewitt was there. And it really allowed them to open up. And it allowed Kennedy as well to get a lot of hand passes away into targets that are damaging, such as your Heaney's and your Parkers. And what that means for Carlton is we're going to talk about another bloke that will really benefit, but it's going to benefit players like Walsh. It's going to definitely benefit players like Cripps as well. And it also gives us another string to our bow. Now, we talked about having tagging areas and tackle numbers in elsewhere. It also allows us to play Ed Kerno on that half-forward line. Now, I know people are going to go, oh, he's a midfielder. But if you actually look at his games when he has played in the forward line, he brings them 3 or 4 tackles, which are absolutely huge in today's game. And it is a huge area that Carlton lack. Now, you can't fix all your problems in a trade window. It's impossible. And it looks like Carlton are trying to do 2 big holes already with what they're acquiring in trades. This is a free agency pick. And that is super important, but I think that allows a bit of options. It creates space as well. And it allows Cripper as well to have a little bit of less attention because you actually find Hewitt, especially when he's been playing with Parker, who gets a lot of attention at times, he actually tags the tagger as well, takes him out of the game, gives him space, a bit like what Ollie Wines does. So I really like this pick. This gets a real 10 out of 10 from Pom. I rate it. Up next is a guy who's just this morning mentioned us, and that is Young Lewis Young. Great name. I'm trying to think of a chant for him. I was thinking a bit of what a tide, Lewis Young. I'll work on it. But let's have a look at him. Key defender, bit of a part-time ruck. Future third, I reckon his costings will be. It'll be around there. Probably be like one of them stupid swaps you see in the AFL where we give a third, you give a fourth back. It'll be something like that. It won't cost. What I'm saying is it's not going to cost an arm and a leg. And what value is it to the club? Well, he's a depth player, definitely. Scored for 22. A little bit about you as young, 200 centimetre plus key defender. Does pinch hit in the ruck. Now, it's really important that we use that phrase, pinch hit, because he ain't a natural ruckman, but it is going to be because you are that big. It's a little bit like, if you're over 6'2" and you in England, someone asks you if you play basketball. It's one of them stereotypes, but he's got a kind of ruck, hasn't he? Now, it's interesting. Junior career, he was a forward, moved down to the back because his kicking wasn't crash hot. Hello, Liam Jones. And he probably is a Liam Jones replacement. Exceptional reader of the football in the air. Real spoil machine as well. He's a real handy player. When you watch him, particularly in the VFL, which is obviously a big level up, we know from the AFL, but he doesn't let you get clean marks. And that is really predominant. And I want to talk a little bit about, I think for me, the best backline I see is Melbourne's. And you've got Jake Lever there, who's 197, 196, I think. You've got May there, 193, same size as Kemp. And then you've got Big Petty in there, who's that higher, taller guy. He's about 198. And I think if you look at that there, it's a real good model, because then Carlton have got Jonesy. I think Jonesy's 197 from memory. I'm doing this without stats. This is pretty impressive. Kempy's 193, and I think Wheaterin's 196. So you see, they've got a really good mould there, but it works in a certain way, because you find Lever, even though he's not 200 centimetres, what he is impeccable about is getting his hands first to the ball. He's really awkward. You watch Lever play, he's phenomenal at doing it. And you look at May as well. He's played on players like the King brothers, 200 centimetres, and absolutely battered them. So I think Kemp is in that May mould, who reads the play well. And you look at how they play, they start Lever usually in the back pocket, and May will play fullback, and then it's the cover. Lever is the cover for May to go. And I think this is where Lewis Young comes in, because at the moment when I look at our backline, I see three guys that like to intercept: Wheaterin, Jones, and Kemp. And that is a problem. And that's where you get the exposes. You get Plowman 1-on-2 and things like that. And good backlines don't do that. And that is my only issue with this backline, because I think a lot of the backline issues that we see today will be alleviated once we get better midfield structure. We get our hands on the ball first, and we really look to crack it in. So I really like Lewis Young, because he's going to make the VFL better, first and foremost. He was the youngest player in the draft as well. He just made it, I think, by 10 days. So he's a bit of a Jack Carroll vibe. So really, we're getting a second-year player. That's the way I look at it. A lot of the development's been done for us. He's really talented. We know the doggies offered him a deal. He's coming, so we know he's worth something to a side that is where we want to be. And I like this, and I think he will break in. He will break in and be a very able footballer. Bit of negatives on his field kicking. It ain't crash hot. But I will say, you don't want a key defender belting the ball anyway. You've got Wheaterin, who's an exceptional user. He's got some really good users around him. So I want to see him kind of have that Jake Lever role. Get the ball like Petty does. If you watch Petty, he would be a great example for Lewis Young. Gets the ball. He's looking to handball it to one of his better users, his Salems, his Mays, and Co-op. I really like this deal. It's not going to cost much as well. It's going to cost probably about 150, 200 draft points. Absolute F-all in today's game. Real solid acquisition. And I think everyone would say key defender depth is an issue. And I like this. Even though I'm a big fan of Rhett Bazo, I still hope to see that we take him, because I don't think you can have enough. But I really like this pickup. I really like it. Up third then is Jared Brander. Look at that. Look at him. I love seeing these boys in Carlton Guernseys. It just get me up and about. Now, what is he? He's kind of a utility. Plays back and forward. Bit of the wing. Bit of a licorice all sorts player. I'd like to see this one here done in the state knives of the SPS deal. I reckon you're going to see some weird deal if that goes ahead. I think this will be pendant on the SPS deal as well. Am I a fan of it? Well, I mean, Brander's talented. He's talented. In the loosest sense of the word. He's definitely got upside. My question is, when we talk about development, that's something that I don't think Carlton have a lot of naturally. It may change. It should do with the people we've got in, but it's not something I look at and think, okay, cool, we can milk the cow to get, say, this guy's at 50% of his level. He's been in the system a couple of years. Can we get him to 100%? And I think this is really speculative, really speculative. You kind of know what you're getting with SPS. I think if he gets his head screwed on and he's in the right frame of mind, he strikes me. I've never met him long enough to make an assumption of him. So this is purely speculation. But I think he's one of them people that needs to be happy to play well, needs a real good environment, needs real encouragement, needs, I wouldn't say mollycoddling, but I think he needs a little bit of love, which is not my style. I don't see the worth for me in this player. I like Brander, and I do like him, and I have followed him. I do watch a lot of the Eagles games. But for me, I just don't see the benefit of it. I don't think he's a pure winger. If he was a pure winger, I'd say yes, but he's deployed on the wing for the same reason that Satterfield is kind of deployed on the wing. He did a bit of it at juniors, and he's tall, and everyone now likes to have that outlet ball down the wing. I'm not a fan because for me, if you're going to play that style of football, it's really negative. You're setting yourself up to lose. So I'm not a fan of this deal, but I would expect it to be involved in some way in the SPS deal should it go through. What it looks like, I don't know. I mean, I would say 36 and Brander would be fair on both parties because this guy, they want rid of him. We don't really want rid of SPS. So for me, I think that works out well in my pommy mind. I may be wrong. West Coast Eagles fans may get on here now and say that that's ripping him off. If it is, don't even really care because I don't even really want him. But if he comes, it is what you get. It's depth back, forward, and on the wing. Is he best 22? I think there's scope there. I do think there's scope there. I just think there's better options in and around the draft for me. And I do like Brander, but I just don't think he has enough point of difference for me to say it's worth it. And the last one we're going to look at, this is what we've all come for on it, Adam Chera. Now, what's it going to cost us, first of all? It's definitely going to cost us pick 6 or pick 8 or whatever you want to call it after father and sons. I hate it when people do that as well. It's pick 6. The father and sons are imaginary picks because they're not even on anyone's draft board. So it is pick 6. You're going to take the 6th best player that is available. Value for us, well, he's instantly best 22, isn't he? There's no getting away from it. He is best 22. What's his position? Well, he's been playing in the midfield and the wing this year, but we do know that Carlton will love this. He's a midfielder who can play down the back. He plays in that triangle as well. You watch Fremantle when he's played really well this year as well. He's really spread the play. He's really done that. I see him maybe as a potential kind of our Lockie Whitfield, to be honest, a guy that we can really impact in the ground. And I'd like to see them do that with Zach Williams as well. Really rotate these guys heavily, create the mismatch, create different matchups, stop rhythm breakers, I'll call them, rhythm breakers. And I'm a big fan of Adam Chera. I know I've been really heavily critical on the pick 6 deal. I've kind of resigned myself to do it now because I've just taken the out of contract nonsense out. You know, the uncontracted free agents, they don't count. It's a silly rule. We should just get rid of it, and everyone should just be in an imaginary contract unless you fall into the restricted, unrestricted category. But there's no getting away from his class. He takes the game on. He's really good inside as well. He's got a bit of turn of pace as well. He's got real good vision and visual craft. And I think when you look at our midfield and you add Chera, Cripper, Hewitt, and Walshy into that, that is a really solid. Them 4 there are 8 players. They are 8 players without a shadow of a doubt. And I do like it. And he looks mighty good in there. I know a couple of weeks ago I said we haven't had a good Italian player for a while. I apologise to Jesus. What I meant is we haven't been able to recruit a good Italian player for a while, with the exception of Alex Silvani before someone comes at me. But we've always been linked with them, haven't we? You know, Cornelio, he was linked. Shield looks Italian because he's got that beautiful olive skin. Real good looking boy. It's good to get one across, and we will get this one across. The deal for me, I think, you're definitely going to have that second rounder included in there. That, for me, with the way that Jordan Clark's going, it's going to be in there, isn't it? Like, you can lock that in. You can lock that in. Am I a fan of that? Not really. Not really. But if I'm a predicting model, I will have a little hazard now. We'll go early with the prediction. I think that what's gonna happen is Carlton will give a future second for this deal. I really do. I think they'll give a future second for a future third coming back, so it offsets that. And then I think they'll use that future second, and I think that they're going to have to go to maybe an Adelaide, maybe a Gold Coast, and really try and manufacture a deal. Now, with that pick 6, they may look at something like, if I was Fremantle, they may look at giving pick 6 to Gold Coast for 1922 and something else. If they've identified something in the draft, maybe. But there is a lot of good players in the top 30. It'll be interesting to see what they do. But obviously, Geelong want a second, which 25 would appeal to them. I hope it's not that. But my gut says to me that they will be asking for 25. I think Carlton will stand firm and it'll be pick 6 in a future. I reckon it'll be something like a future second with a third coming back, future third, second coming back, something like that to even it out. But he'll definitely get across. Am I happy with it? I'm not happy when you're adding picks because I think you're getting a really good deal for pick 6. Is he worth it? Time will tell. For me, if I'm valuing him today, I would be more than happy to pay a 6. If he was in contract, I'd be more than happy to play a first and a future, second, third. Make it out to be, let's just say it's a first and an early third. I'd be really happy to pay that. I'd be really happy to play that. It's just that contract thing. It's a bugbear in me. And it's maybe been a tight ass northerner, but it is. Well, they're the 4 then that I've picked out. Please join me on Blue Abroad. We've got the Bloomer Mill coming back with the great Joe from Almost Blues Brothers. We'll be discussing that. Please check that out. Please stay tuned as well to Blue Abroad because I will be doing my in-depth trade and draft analytics as that gets a bit closer, particularly the draft time. We'll have a look at what we're going to take in the draft board, try and get some predictions going. Until next time, I'm out.